Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Hudson with the Accessible Hunter Podcast, along with my partner, Greg Trainer. You guys are in for a great treat. We got Mr. Keith Campbell back on with us. He's always a true blessing, wealth of knowledge, and an amazing hunter. So, we're going to be able to share a lot more about accessible hunting with him. But in the meanwhile, Greg, how are you doing in PA today, brother?
Man, I'm doing really good. Getting excited for deer season. It's September here, and our season starts October 4th. And I've been seeing some pretty good deer down at the property. So I'm chomping at the bit to get out there and shoot my crossbow a little bit and order new ground blinds and new targets to shoot my broadheads in. So I'm pretty jazzed up this year, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I know you were talking about a new ground blind. Which one'd you get this time?
Man, I ordered a new Tide Wee. I don't know if you guys have heard of those before yet. It's kind of new to me, but I'm really impressed with it. It's the 270 clear blind, so I can see all three sides around me, and the back has a black screen, so I'm not highlighted, and the windows are super quiet. And I'm really looking forward to switching this blind out and trying it this year.
I know, Keith, at one point we were chatting before this podcast, and you said you had one. Have you got to try it yet or been in
No,
any demos?
I haven't got tried. A buddy of mine actually bought it for me, and I'm going to set it up hopefully within the next week. I got to get out and start setting some stuff up, and it's a 360, I think. And the garage door on it instead of flipping up, it opens sideways, which I've never had one that did that. But most of mine are the Barnetts, and they flip up. But
Yeah.
so I'm going to try it. It's a 360, like I said, but I think it does have a blackout panel you can hang in the back, which I probably will do because I can't spin around anyways unless I
Right.
whole track chair around. So I probably will hang the blackout curtain on the back, just like Greg said. That way, you're not silhouetted in it. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to play with it and see how things go. Like I said, I'll hopefully do some reviews on it. I like my Barnetts real well. Some of the cheaper ones, I hunt under a lot of trees, and them cheaper ones tend to get tore up if I leave them
Yeah,
Yeah.
sitting there during hunting season. But
I've had my baronet out all year, and then I took it back in, and then put it back out for turkey season, and it's still out there. But the sun faded it pretty good because I've
yeah,
had it out so much. So that's why I'm going to switch it out with this Tide Wee. But you're right, Keith. Those baronet blinds, man, I love them, and the garage doors on all these blinds that they're coming up with, man, it not only helps guys like us in chairs, but families and guys with backpacks and
Mm-hmm.
the days of squeezing into that little door on the side are over. They're making these big garage door openings, and man, it's amazing what ground blinds are doing now.
yeah. I hunt by myself a lot, so I don't have people with me. And a lot of times I don't unzip. I'll unzip just all the way up on the side, the corner. I'll pop that
Mm.
hub in and pull it up, and then just I can squeak my track chair underneath it, so I don't. I have to full with unzipping the whole thing. Where I'm by myself, it's just a little harder. So I
Yep.
did learn to do that. So as long as this got a zipper all the way up the corner, I can still get my track chair in there. It's not as easy, and if you don't have the mobility in your hands, it's going to make it a little harder too. So it's different for everybody, but you kind of learn tricks of the trade, figure out what's easiest for you. So.
That
You,
that
that's one of the things, man. Technology comes around. It does great when it works. It's terrible when it doesn't. And what I ended up having to do is some of those older blinds. I always stake mine off just because we get some heavy winds,
Oh yeah.
and so I would notoriously stake the front off, and then I just tilt the whole blind up,
yeah.
Yeah.
roll underneath it, and pull it back. And we ended up figuring out we could put a rope on either side. So when I flipped it up, I could reach one of the ropes to push it back down, even as a quad, so I could go by myself. But then what I started having problems with is I hunt with a rifle rest. So if I threw my rifle rest on it at the same time going under the blind, now I couldn't get the rifle out the door, and so you're back and forth and in your chair just trying to get into the stand before daylight.
Yep. Yep. Keith, you brought up a good point though about collapsing that one door. If you have a side door opening with just one zipper, if you collapse that back panel, you can actually fold that door back and
Yeah.
get your track chair in a lot easier.
Yeah.
I found that out a couple of years ago myself by accident. Just we were trying to pull the door, and the hub popped in, and we are like, man, that's the way to go. that's the way to go from now on. So on
It's
this,
probably not the easiest on the blind, but it works. Whatever works. So
yeah, yes, sir. Because if you don't stake these blinds down, you're going to lose them in a windstorm, and
yeah.
Hmm.
they're $300-400, and we we
Right.
we stake everything down like we're paying for it because we are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It'd be nice to have sponsors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we don't
Yeah.
have to worry about it as much. But I stake mine down sometimes. We usually get like about 2 good windstorms during hunting season. I've lost a few even with them staked down. They'll rip a
Oh
stake,
yeah.
break them, or whatever. So
I was kicking myself last year, Keith. I meant to get my blind, back down and put in a barn and all that kind of thing, but I don't know, something come up and it was third week in November, and I seen on my cameras my neighbor was dragging my ground blind across the
oh
the,
god,
the yard to give it back to me because it had broken loose, and it was up against his fence, and he brought it back over to my place and said, "Here you go." Because man, if you don't take care of them and get them down after the season, they're going to blow away on you.
oh yeah, I've got one that's been out for over 2 years now. I kept meaning to get it in. It's one of the it's the fives, the Pentagon ones. I think the
Yep,
five.
Yeah.
It's real thick. It's like 600 denier, and it's
yep.
really good. But no, it has faded pretty bad. But I've just left it up, and it's a real heavily bare area too. And honestly, I'm afraid to put a new blind in there because they're so used to it being there, and they don't smell my scent on it.
Oh, right.
Afraid if I put a fresh one in there because the bears have destroyed all the neighbors' stuff. I get more bears on that camera than I do deer, so we're we're gonna see how that goes. If one walks in front of me, I'm gonna be forced to shoot. I shot one last year too, so it's the first one I'd ever killed. But I'm not gonna let them walk. We have too many. They're getting really thick, which I think they're thick in PA too as well out in areas. But from what I watch on TV, but they're getting real thick down here, like they're bad.
Keith, we jump right into hunting, man. And for some of the people that don't watch the podcast or haven't seen it as much, do you mind telling the folks a little bit about you, your injury and that kind of thing?
It'd be yeah, I'm a P7 complete paraplegic. It'll be almost 12 years. It'll be 12 years in October. It was 2013, October the 14th, 2013. And just, normal morning, got back from vacation, been to the Outer Banks, had a great time, and go to get up in the tree and check everything out and grab my stand and shake it like I always did, make sure the straps weren't loose or it wouldn't kick me off the side or whatever.
Hmm.
Had a safety harness on, but didn't have a lifeline on, which I preach at wear a lifeline no matter what stand, no matter how high you're climbing, whatever, will always be tied off 100%. But, I step over in there and as soon as the weight of my right leg gets on the platform, it dumps me and fall 25 foot. And, at the time, had no idea what happened. It kind of addles you a little bit. I didn't pass out, but wasn't sure what was going on. And once I realized, hey, I'm on the ground and I can't move, then we got to try to figure something out. So, I just got on the phone immediately, and luckily, I mean, it probably literally didn't take me a minute to realize, but not even that long, that my back was broke. I mean, there was no other explanation. I went to try to kind of straighten myself up because I was kind of all bent up, and the pain that shot through my back, which I can't, it's indescribable. I mean, everybody's got different stories and this and that, and I mean, I know y'all do too. You deal with pain every day, but that pain there it was one you don't forget. It's one you don't
Yes, sir.
want anybody to feel, no matter who they are or how bad you don't like them or how bad you do, especially people you do love. But I knew something was wrong immediately, and that's, I tell people, I got my phone out. I don't have service there. And I think I might have told on the last podcast, but I always like to share it anytime I can. But, I got on there and I called my wife. She was working in the ER, working nights, and she didn't answer. She had snuck off to the gym that morning early to do CrossFit. And we were big into CrossFit at the time. And then so I called 911. It went through, and I was talking to the girl, and I actually knew her. Was what was crazy. So it's all in God's plan. That's
Yeah.
everything that happened was God's plan, and me having service was God's plan because we have zero service up there at the time, and it's still sketchy up there. So, and I still hunt there by myself too. So that was what's crazy, but they finally, it took them about an hour. It wasn't really real bad. I could hear sirens within 15 minutes, but they couldn't find me. And then my oldest boy actually they got a hold of him and he came and brought them to me. So And I'll
Oh,
never forget. There's so many little details. You never, when you have an accident like that, you just don't forget all the details. I don't think they'll ever go away. So I still have dreams about them. So maybe nightmares more than dreams. So just,
yeah.
for the first year I did, it was horrible. It's like I fell every time I closed my eyes. I just falling over and over and over and over. So luckily that's went away. I don't deal with that. And I know some people do get the PTSD just from their accidents and just
Sure.
you do from anything else. And I don't have that issue. I'm not afraid of falling. So I'd get back in the tree stand in a heartbeat. People say, well, you're stupid, but it is what it is. But when you're doing something you love, because people ask me all the time, I say, hey, I had an accident. And I'll tell them how. They're like, well, do you still hunt? I'm like, well, do you breathe?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm going to hunt as long as I can, as long as God will allow me to get out there and hunt. I'm going to keep doing. I love it, as you can see on my wall, and I've got an axis deer hanging here to my right, an elk hanging in front of me. I mean, I had the opportunity to kill some animals, and I'm very appreciative of it. I'm glad I can still get out and do it. So,
Well, Keith, it's been a long 12 years, and you've certainly recovered and found a way to keep pushing forward for sure. Uh, Definitely an example for others that just because you have an accident or you're born with a disability that you can still get outdoors and still do everything you love. And man, you've got I don't know, what do we got? One, two, three, four, five, six, 7 bucks that anyone would be, so thankful to take. You got
oh yeah,
7 of them behind you there that are some pretty big boys. For the folks that are just listening, not watching the YouTube channel. But man, you've had an incredible season last year too. You want to talk a little bit about maybe the success you've had just recently?
yeah. Last year was a pretty good year. Actually, last year at the beginning of the year, May is when I got to go. I took an axis deer in Texas, and that was back in May of 2024. About lost track of the years, but and he's hanging on the wall. It was a trophy axis. It was a really good one, and I think the main beams, which if you know anything about them, they kind of go off tight. The main beam, that's the trophy. I think it was like 31 inches or something like that. So it was considered a trophy axis. Super fun hunt. And then we got to go back to Ohio. I got a buddy that's took me high fence hunting a few times. A lot of people, that could be another whole podcast. I
Oh
know
yeah.
a lot of people don't like it, whatever, and to each his own. I say if it makes you happy and you enjoy doing it, do it. Don't matter what, if it's legal. But yeah, I've killed several deer in high fence, all those behind me, which would be be over my left shoulder to you. But there's 4 there that I've killed in high fence. And the axis deer was too down in Texas, which they do free range in Texas now. You just got to find a place to hunt them. A lot of the ranches will for a small like $1,500 or something. You can go and people's places and hunt them, but it's not real expensive and it's really good game fare too. It's some of the best meat I've ever eaten, honestly. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
I like Axis, man. That
yeah,
stuff is
good
delicious.
stuff. And so I had the opportunity to kill the Ohio deer, which is hanging there on the wall. It would be the second one from I guess your all's left, and it was 160 inches, 16 points. So I got to kill it last year, and then hunted at home, and I had a lot of good success. Honestly, I saw some good deer, but I put my buddy on one. I put him on a 130-inch 8 pointer. He killed it on one of my spots, and my grandson got to kill a good coal buck on one of my spots. So, and then I killed an 8 pointer here at home in one of my spots. The same spot we killed those other 2 bucks. So we took some good deer off there. I know, like you said, people that's listening won't be able to see it, but I don't know if how well y'all will be able to see it. Can you see it, or is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's blurring in and out, but yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, it's a 8 pointer. I killed it last year. And that talking about skull mounts earlier before the podcast there, Greg, if I can get it to stay. I
Yeah.
There
did
you go.
I did that one myself. I just
Nice.
I just buried it. I just
Yeah.
put it in the ground and let the bugs do the work. As soon as I kill it, I'll skin it out, and it had a good cape on it too. I don't know how your all's taxidermists do, but they'll like if you take one, they'll give you a little bit of money off, or they will buy them for like 50, 75 bucks, depending on the size. So we do try to cape them out and help out the taxidermist because he helps us out. So, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I actually killed, I think the bear, I guess the bear was one of the first things I killed last year during the regular season. Hopefully we can he's still not, I'm not finished it yet, but see if I can get it.
Wow.
There's if I can get it there, we go. Yeah, he's got some pretty good sized teeth on him. And
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I killed him at 15 yards. He walked by my blind, kind of caught me off guard. I didn't have any intentions on seeing a bear, but I knew they were there. And I done told my son, I said, hey, if you get a call, I might need your help. Sometimes if I can get to the deer, I can hook them up and get them drug out with my track chair, but they typically help me. I don't have, it's the same place I don't have good service, but yeah, that bear came by like 15 yards. I shot it. And it was kind of an eventful thing, but we didn't find it that night. We had to wait till the next morning. But those things are bad. It didn't go far as honestly as a crow flies on my Onyx. It was only 150 yards from my blind, but it ran about
Right.
300. It zigzagged, went down through some deep gorges and stuff, and it ended up just getting in some thick stuff. And they're bad about losing blood on them because the blood goes in their hair. I don't know if y'all ever
Right.
experienced with them, but that's the first one I'd ever killed. But
I've never gotten a bear, Keith. Did you get that with your bow or a rifle?
yeah, I killed it with my crossbow. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I was shooting. I shoot that Assassin 420 takedown Excalibur, and
Yeah.
I love that thing. I mean, it's pretty simple setup, but it's got an easy crank. Like literally, I think a 2-year-old could crank it till that last inch. It's a little tight on that last inch, but man, it cranks easy, and I'm able to get it cranked back and stuff. But yeah, I was trying to think. I killed it with. That's probably well. I killed a couple of does with my crossbow last year too. I try to kill several does every year.
Yeah.
Grass are so thick, and we eat the meat. I'm not out
Yep.
there rack hunting, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to. I'm trying to kill more mature deer. Where I've gotten a little older, and obviously killed a bunch of deer, and I just try. I don't care how big the rack is. I just try to kill mature deer. If I've got a messed up rack or something, I'm good with that too. I've killed several of them like that. So
Right.
everybody's, and I tell people all the time, if you want to kill a spot, kill it.
That's
It
what
might
it is,
be hard.
man.
I think,
But,
hunters
but
are so against each other and fighting and saying, well, you use a crossbow or you use this gun or you use that
Hmm.
gun or you kill this or that. Who cares? We got enough to worry about and to fight over.
we s-
Be happy that we're getting out there and hunting and killing stuff. Do it legally, like I said, as long as it's done illegal, like over bait. They're getting ready to legalize bait in Tennessee next year.
Yeah.
And everybody
I've
panties are in the wad, but people do it anyway, so now they can do it legally. Now they know how to do it illegally.
I've taken a lot of small bucks with my crossbow after my spinal cord injury, and I'm thankful for each one that I get to take. I'm getting a lot more choosy as I get a little bit older, but there is no shame in taking a legal buck
Oh
that is
no.
a little bit smaller, especially if you're a person with a disability, and as long as you're enjoying it, you're making a good, clean, ethical shot on it. God bless you. I've killed a lot of 4 points and 6 points, and
Hmm.
I'm just as thrilled with them as I am with the 170 on the wall. So
Uh,
shoot what makes you happy, and don't let people
I've got a
influence
garage
your hunt.
full. All right, I done in my building. I'll have to video it sometime, sent to you. There's just my kids' horns and stuff from when I was younger and hunting. I mean, I've got ample amount of spikes, 4 pointers, 6 pointers, little basket racks. I
Oh,
got a bunch of them just screwed into the wall all around the ceiling down there. So yeah, I've got skull mounts everywhere. I've got my son moved back in with us. One of my sons did, trying to his job relocate him back closer, so he's moved in back with us. And his walls are full of skull mounts and other deer heads that I've had to cull out of here. So I told him, I said, I hope you like deer heads because that's what your room's going to be decorated
Yeah.
with.
You can't find better ambiance than that, man.
No.
But it's one of those things. It's about making memories, and you can't eat the horns. The rest of it's delicious. But man, I got to tell you, I'm looking at you backwards. So that deer on the left, tell me a little bit about that guy, because he is just monstrous.
Yeah, it was crazy. We went up there. It's a premier whitetail retreat in Ohio. We've been there multiple times. Super, just it's a 5-star lodge. I mean, when you get there, they cater to you. And honestly, when we first year we went, we're interested in going. I was in a chair, and they weren't accessible. And we called the guy, the owner, and he's like, "Hey, would you come up here during the summertime?" And he was even willing to pay my gas and stuff. And he said, "Kind of help me out and tell me what you need to make it accessible." And
Okay.
it's still not 100% accessible, but honestly, he will do anything in his willpower. He'll rent portable ramps, and he fixed a shower where I could build a ramp into it and stuff. But super accommodating. So it is, a lot of those places aren't accessible, but this place is, and but just super good people. But that deer there, I was paid up to kill a 160-inch deer. And that morning, actually, my buddy had killed one like 180 double drop tine deer, and we were driving out. I was on a trailer, which I know Mike knows. I saw a picture of you on a trailer there.
Oh man, in
I
a
just drive
minute.
my
Oh
tractor
yeah.
on a trailer,
Yep.
and that's how they get me in and out, and it just keeps me. I mean, I can drive my track chair through there, but he just like, it'll be quick or something. Yeah, I'm fine with it, but I've done it many times on hunts. But we're coming out there, and I see this deer bedded down over in this brush. All you can see is the track, which it had a lot of rack sticking up. And we get by at about 100 yards, and he stops the truck. I'm like, what's he doing? He looks back there, and he's like, do you see that deer? I was like, not really, because I wasn't paying attention to it because it's so big. He's like, would you want to shoot it? And I'm like, yeah, where's my gun? Give me my gun. So I got off the track chair, and we eased around through there and got to where we could see it. And he kind of stood up and stretched and looked at it and was going to try to walk off, and got to shoot him. But they thought he was going to score. Probably he'd gotten injured. As you can see, I guess it would be, yeah, it's his right side looks like Medusa, basically. It's just got stuff shooting up everywhere. And people aren't going to want to pay the full price, what it would cost to kill a deer with that messed up side. And he's like, would you want to shoot that? And I'm like, heck yeah, I'll shoot it. I'll never have the opportunity again. So
That's right.
they were thinking 190 at best. And when I got it all scored up, I think it was 232, 233 with like 33 scorable points. I mean, it's insane. My hands are big, and I can't take both of my hands and reach around the right side of the mass on the base. I mean, it's just like a tree stump. It's
Yeah.
not. And then the other ones that are around it, the Ohio deer, they're all right around the 160 mark. They're all got different. One of them's 13 pointer, one's 11, and one's a 16 pointer, but they're all around the ones. And most of them also are just mainframe 10s, which
Yeah.
is impressive to be 160 inches with just a few stickers. But obviously they score they don't do deductions. When you're paying to kill a deer,
Right.
they add it all up. So, but I've been blessed. And what's funny is on my wall behind me, I've got deer from I was able to hunt with Huntsman's Creed, which was only together a couple of years. I don't know if y'all recall them or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
My videos, actually, my hunts on YouTube, on their YouTube channel. But I killed a deer in Kentucky, and there's one from North Carolina up there. And then I've got one from Ohio, and then, well, several from Ohio. So I've been blessed. And what's crazy is most of those deer, I was just talking, only one of the deer, which you can't see, it's directly behind me, was killed in North Carolina before my accident. The rest of them I've killed out of a wheelchair. And
Wow.
the one I just showed y'all that I killed last year, I've killed more deer off the ground, and I always hunted in the highest spots, away from everybody, and this and that. Now you can't access them, so you have to adjust. And I've killed better deer off the ground, and a lot of times not even in a blind. I can't tell you the number of deer I've shot with my crossbow at 30, 25, 30 yards on the ground, not even being a blind. So I just tuck in wherever I can, and treetop or brush or briars. Well, I'll back right into briars. I don't care, because I just duck my head and back in,
Keith,
hope for the best.
Keith, we were talking the other day, buddy. You had texted me and sent me some videos of a couple really nice bucks you have, around your house, around the property. And I know you do a lot of, deer preparation and getting your ground blind, brushed in and all that kind of stuff. But if you could run us through a little bit about your preparation this summer for the season, like how you shoot, what you're doing with your blinds, and kind of walk us through your season preparation.
Yeah, I do. I need to get out more, and I have done a little more this year. I've gotten out and moved some cell cameras around and had a new place. We always start with mineral licks, and because I've got at one spot I can't even put bait. You can legally bait up to 10 days before your hunt in Tennessee now, and so in the off season stuff. But one spot I have, you can't put anything at food out because of the bears. They'll just lay in it. If you ever had dealt with them, they'll just lay in the pile until it's gone. They literally won't get out of it. But I go and try to put minerals out and freshen that stuff up. And I use also the one I use, Trace Minerals. It's a bag, a 50-pound bag from Tractor Supply. It's like $9, and you can use that. And they seem to like it better than anything. It's got like 6 or 7 different kinds of minerals in it, and it's like I said, $8.99 for a 50-pound bag. But I use that a lot. You know, if I to get one started like the fresh one I just did at that place at that Cameron, I've already had like 8 or 9 bucks show up. Nothing huge, but that's all I've had show up's bucks. But I think it's can't remember if it's tall time, but it's like cherry flavor. Just kind of get them in there, and then it's minerals, and I'll start using the other mineral. But and trying to get blinds out. And I'm actually trying to get. I'm going to fix my track chair. Actually, a guy on one of the Facebook sites sent me a thing because I was trying to figure out a good way to put a blind. I think Greg, I talked to you about it before too, but it was pretty neat. It's one of the double chair blinds,
Yeah.
and he used the toolbox brackets on the front,
Hmm.
stuck them into both sides, and he cut it off and kind of shoved the where it was attached to the chair in there, so you can. It's portable, so you can take that down. I'm going to try to do that this year because I do a lot of mobile. I'll hunt out of some of my blinds with a gun and stuff, but when them bucks, a lot of times I'll catch them. Even the one place I hunt, I got a camera that's 200 yards away. Well, I'll see them on camera, but they won't come up in that field where I'm at. So I have to go after them, and that way I'll just get my track chair and go. But it's the way I can tuck in and try to get down in them bottoms and stuff and hunt them. So
I'm laughing a little bit, Keith, because I always think of Mike turkey hunting, rolling with his blind. Him and his buddy are holding his blind, and he's rolling to the gobbler to get him. And
Yeah.
anytime I see a track chair that has the blind on it and a guy rolling it like a golf cart, I think my buddy Mike Hudson, him pushing his ground blind across the field to get a bird.
Uh,
well,
you
you
know,
got to do what you got to do.
that's what I was fixing to say, kid. He hung up on me, man, and we couldn't do nothing. It was pouring rain. So I told my able-bodied buddy that was in there, I said, just pick it up and walk, maybe, man. We'll get to him if he won't come to us.
I,
Yeah,
ex- I
yeah.
experienced that this last turkey season here in Tennessee. Those 3 big old gobblers, and everybody 100 yards away, and they would not come. But I didn't have. I'd like to have had a blind and somebody with me. I'd have done that day. They just hung up and they wouldn't come in there. But
Yeah.
No, no, if you would, try to plan that out that, hey, this is what we're gonna do, it would never freaking work. But some
uh,
of the craziest stuff that you try sometimes, and the bird or the deer will stand there and let you do it. Other times, you have an acorn drop out of a tree and it scares the crap out of everything or around you, and everything spooks. But when a plan comes together, it comes together, boys.
yes,
You know,
it does.
that's I was gonna say that's one of the craziest things, Greg. You hit the nail on the head. Man, the stuff we did prior to injuries in the woods and we could get away with it. And now your chair just barely clicks or squeaks and they run off or vice versa. The stuff I've gotten away with now in a chair, the
That's what
deer.
I. I've literally moved my track chair almost 180 degrees to get a shot, and I'm thinking these deer are going to run, but what do you got to lose? So, and I also honestly I can shoot right and left-handed, and I will if
Mm,
it's within a certain distance. I'm not going to shoot long range, but like my crossbow, if they're inside of 30 yards, I'm not scared a bit to put it on. I've shot it in my backyard with my left hand. It's off a hair because of the way your eyes are, your dominant eye dominance and stuff, but it's doable, and you have to adjust because if you don't, I know y'all are the same boat. You can't twist. I can't turn.
Yep.
I can
hmm
if I'm shooting to my left, I'm good. I can kind of rotate my body, but if it's to the right, it could be standing 10 foot to my right, and I couldn't twist to shoot it if I don't put it in
Yeah.
the left hand and shoot it. So
Right.
you just got to do what you got to do and make the adjustments. So
I kind of wonder if these animals are trying to figure us out too. Where our body styles are different now. They've seen human upright.
yeah.
They ain't seen us on, what is this thing turning?
No, I hunt on farms and I hunt a lot of city properties too, and they're
Yeah.
so used to the 4 wheelers and the tractors. I have literally drove up. I was in my track chair going up in the woods one day, and I saw the doe, and I thought, I think as long as I don't stop, she's going to be okay. I got within 20 yards of that doe, and she never did run because
Yep.
she just thought I was a farmer on a 4 wheeler. She didn't know what I was, honestly. And that's like you said, I've had them do it to me many a times. I'll be going through a field and there'll be a deer and they'll look and they're like they're going to run, but then they're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yep.
They don't even know because you're not walking with the cadence of a human. It's something rolling. So they're like, they feel safe, at least till you stop and they hear that clicking sound.
I think especially Keith, if we're wearing gloves or have a face mask on, that they can't really see our face as long as that's covered. I agree with you guys that they just don't know what we are sometimes, and I think that is an advantage for us. Uh, as far as deer hunting goes. Um, I know that you have a lot of bears around your property now, and you've obviously taken a lot of deer, and you've even taken an elk and a axis deer. What's your favorite to go after, Keith?
I mean, honestly, I have to say my whitetail is just it's relaxing. I mean, I just enjoy it. It's not to me. It's not about killing. It's about getting out there and just being in
Yeah.
peace. A lot of the hunts, the elk hunt I've been on that stuff and axis deer. I mean, you're on edge the whole time. I have never that axis deer, even in a high fence, is the jumpiest animal. The one I shot, I like to never got him to stand still. They don't, which they're from India, so they're used to getting stalked by tigers. So I guess it's just in their nature. So
Yeah.
they don't sit still. They're just like twitch, like they're on meth or something. They just won't sit still. Constantly just twitching and jerking. So, but honestly, whitetails. I mean, I enjoyed hunting other animals, and I'm actually going to get to go back to Texas this year too. We're going to go he's either going to try to get me on a cull axis deer, which I would love just for the meat, or we're going to hunt like I think up to 150-inch 8-pointers. Which if I kill a 150-inch 8-pointer, I'm going to be happy.
Heck yeah.
It sounds to me like you're going to have to invest in a new wall.
Well, that's one of my boys told me the other day. He said, "Dad, is that wall load rated for all that?" I'm like,
Uh,
it might not be, but it's a load bearing wall, so we'll see.
That's a good problem to have, brother, for sure. You're running out of wall space. I know you got a loving wife that lets you put up all those deer heads and
Yeah,
decorate the home. And Mike and I are both blessed with good wives that indulge our hunting uh, trips and what we bring home as well.
yeah, yeah. She's been with me on a few of my trips that we've gone, especially the accessible hunts that I go on. She'll usually go with me, and we just have a blast. I'm not. I mean, the Kentucky hunt, I did kill a 130-inch 8-pointer, and I passed up some decent bucks up there because I knew what was on the property. They showed us the trail camera pictures, and he's like, "No, you can shoot what you want to." And I hadn't shot no giants at that point, but I'd shot some pretty good deer, and I was like, "Well, I mean, it was a 5-day hunt, and the first day I passed up like 4 or 5 bucks, and he's just looking at me. I'm like, listen, I don't. I'll let your young deer walk." I said, "I'm not interested in shooting a young 8-pointer, 7-pointer, or whatever." I said, "If." And then the second day we was out that 130-inch 8-pointer. It took me about 2 seconds.
yeah.
Before he got out of his mouth. I was in my gun on my bipod, so
There
on my
you go.
I use that bog pod, which is
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all use. I love my bog pod. I use it. I'm actually going to try to rig it up. My track chair, I've got the original action track chair, and it has the gun rest that swings from the back, which I
Yeah.
don't
Mm,
use it a lot of times because it's kind of noisy and stuff. But this year I think I am going to try to use it and mount one of the bog pod clamps up on the front,
yeah.
so I can have my gun or what crossbow right there ready. So, but
That's I did the same thing. And Keith, I'll be honest with you, we made a custom blind or a custom rifle rest that can take my crossbow or whatever. Then we figured out we can offset that bog piece if I'm shooting an AR format, so you can put in a larger mag. But I like it because this thing's quickly interchangeable.
oh
So
yeah,
it just pulls straight out with a little T handle. I'll get some pictures and shoot it over to you. It's something
oh
pretty simple that you'd be able to load yourself.
yeah, I'm up for it. I'm all the time trying to figure out what makes life easier. That's people, I see stuff all the time, just like you talking about that. That's another thing. People sometimes aren't willing to change, but man, if it makes my life easier, and I've found in a wheelchair, it's constant. Like I'll see people posting on these Facebook sites. Facebook's not always the best thing, social media,
Right.
but these sites where it's just all wheelchair users and like Mike's or Greg's page, accessible hunter, and people
Yeah.
sharing. I mean, you just learn so much, and like you're with the roar and stuff. I mean, you see stuff and you pick up on it. That's how that track chair blind. I saw a guy just posted a random picture. I'm like, hey, I sent him a message and said, you care to send me the details? So he did. He sent me every little, basically how he built it and stuff and everything about it. So yeah, it's good. It's good information. It can be used for good. That's for sure. learn a lot of new stuff. So
That's a great thing about, social media and what we all kind of try to help each other figure things out because everybody's disability is different. All of our abilities are different. Mike and I like to use a sip and puff trigger. I think you're able to, pull the trigger on your own, Keith. But these these mounts that we're using, whether it be adaptive or bog pod, or I use the hog saddle mount on my, homemade blind or homemade mount. Yeah, we rely on this stuff, and without it, we can't get out in the woods, and we certainly can't be as accurate as what we are because once I have my crossbow and that mount or my rifle, I'm every bit as accurate as an able-bodied person. It just takes me a little bit longer time-wise to get on that animal or get on that target.
yeah, it's I noticed even I used to hunt with the Encore pistol. Had a 7 millimeter .08 set up. I've killed several deer with it before my accident, and then when I had my accident, I took it out and was shooting it, and even with it clamped down, I just couldn't get steady with it anymore. I'm
Yeah.
fine with the rifle, but that pistol, where my arms are long, so I got my arms stretched out, and and after a while, I start shaking anyways when I get tired and stuff. Y'all know how it is, and so I just sold the pistol part of it and took the trigger assembly and built me a 308 out of it with a thumb grip. Everything I use now, I can shoot free-handed. I won't shoot long range free-handed. I've shot 20 yards with my crossbow, 30 with free-handed, without having just didn't have a choice because I've had to take it out of the clamp. Like I said, you got to adjust. I've had to take up my bug pod and swing all the way around as far as I could to shoot it, but I'm not going to shoot long distance like that, obviously. And I've noticed rifles, I can shoot as long as they're clamped down. I'm not going to shoot far with it not clamped down because I just don't have the stability. And that's why I use those thumb hole grips. So it gives you a lot more
Yeah.
control on the gun. I've changed all my stocks out on my guns to thumb hole. I just get a
You,
lot better control of the gun with it like that. So
Y'all bring up a lot of good points, man, and it's about improvising, adapting, and overcoming. We've talked about that before and over and over. Uh, and Keith, like you said, once we go to the chair, or once we're in the chair, that's our whole life. We have to figure
yeah,
out new ways to do it. And what I really love about this podcast and being able to share, it's exactly what you said. Being able to find products that might not be completely dialed in for you, but
right.
you can tweak something to make it fit you perfectly. Why not do it? We're not competing with anybody. And
No,
it's like that old adage, guys used to get upset. If you're not hunting out of an old piece of wooden stand that's built, shooting a just stick and string, that's not real hunting. And come on, man. We're just trying to get back out and enjoy it safely.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would love to shoot compound bow, and I try, and I know people who do out of wheelchairs, and they do good, but my shoulders won't let me, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah,
Your shoulders, that's how I get around. I'm still able to transfer myself in and
Yeah.
out of everything. So they're in bad enough shape. So I'm not going to do something to purposely damage them. I mean,
Sure.
right.
it's not worth it. I mean, and I've never had anything against crossbow hunting. I actually hunted with one a few times before my accident.
Hmm.
And, but I wish I could use compound, but it's not worth, your body
Right.
health to destroy your shoulders. And these guys I've seen, I know you're all pro. I think you're friends with some of those guys that still shoot, and I've seen them shoot
Yeah.
tournament stuff and out of a manual chair. Man, more power to them. I'm glad they
Yeah.
can do it. Do what you can and do what's not going to hurt you and do what's best for you. That's like you said,
Sure.
you just got to adapt and do what's best for you because everybody's abilities. I mean, I know guys that are T7 just like me, but I have quite a bit of movement that they've got even more. Like they more flexibility. They're not as stiff as I am, which I'm older than they are too. I tell them it's coming, but
Yeah.
they'll figure it
Keith,
out eventually. But
Keith really is hunters, if you're telling somebody, you got to do it this way, you have to use this piece of equipment, you have to use this broadhead, you have to use this rifle cartridge. Man, that's to me, that's the wrong thing to be saying. Is hunters, we need to be supporting each other, and especially now where we're losing a lot of our older hunters,
yeah,
that can no longer maybe shoot the compound bow and are afraid to go to a crossbow because somebody's going to say something to them or because that's not the traditional way to do it. Man, if you can get back out in the woods and your shoulders are bothering you and you can use a crossbow to still get on deer, or you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and you still want to go hunting. Man, there's equipment out there. We can hunt for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. The one, Parker, and I think somebody might actually make one now, but Parker crossbows, which Parker's not in business anymore, and I had one for a while. It had the CO2 cartridge in it, and you just push
Yeah.
the button. You didn't even have to be able to. I mean, if
Right.
you could push it with your nose, if that's all you could do. I mean,
Right.
literally
Right.
push that button in that butt. It would cock that and decock it. It would do both, and
Yeah.
it was heavy and it was a little cumbersome. I mean, you'd have to have somebody with you, if you didn't have good mobility, but. And I liked it, but no, it did have its downsides. I have gotten in the woods before and the CO2's leaked out, and then there's no,
Sure.
I'm not pulling a, 175-pound full
No.
Right.
crossbow back because there's no way to hook it to anything to pull it. So,
But the cranks that they have on the crossbows now,
oh,
I
yeah.
know all of my 10 points have always had a crank on it, or you can use the rope, the caulking rope, if it doesn't. But my wife is able to caulk my crossbow very easily. It's pretty quiet. It only takes a minute. And by using that crank, it gets that string in the same spot every time. So using a crank, man, I think it increases our accuracy dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm able to hit ping pong balls floating at 30 yards with that crossbow. At my best, whenever I was shooting my compound bow in my 20s, I'm never even close to the accuracy that these crossbows have.
No, you can't shoot. I've got a target and it's got quarter size dots on it. You don't shoot. I shoot out to 70 all the time. You do not shoot the same dot at
You
any.
can't.
You will lose arrows, and they cost too much. So,
Yeah.
That's
so
a fact, sir.
yeah, you definitely can. They're accurate. I mean, I clamped mine down on my bog pod, and you don't want to. I just shot it last week and had to dial it in. I don't know what happened with scope. My scope's been pretty reliable, but it was off like an inch and a half or something, the height wise. But got that adjusted. But yeah,
And
these new crossbows, they're something else.
and Mike, I know that you've really been blessed with some grants from Cabela's through Roar and
Yeah.
things, and you've been able to purchase a couple of different model crossbows.
Right.
Maybe you want to talk about accuracy in different models and how they're comparing for you, because you just recently picked up a few.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. We're going to have to break down and do some videos just showing the comparison. And that's what we did. Cabela's has been really good to us through the nonprofit. I think we've got 7 different cocking crossbows now that have different cocking mechanisms. And that's what it's about. So we have 3 archery stations here, and we just want people to be able to come out and try all of them before you go to purchase them, and just see what works, tweak it a little bit. And that's the kicker is it gets back to anything, right? The track chairs and whatnot. We have a few different types of track chairs. Come out and try what works for you. They all have different price points. As a quad, I can do some of the cranks. Some of them I can't. And we just want to be able to tweak and work with what we've got. I use a Wicked Ridge. It's just built by 10 Point, and so it's just a different variant. I like it. Everybody's going to shoot something different. And so we just have to pick and choose what works best for us.
My brother started using the Wicked Ridge last year,
Hmm.
and let me tell you, I don't think you can get a better crossbow made in the USA. It's made in Ohio by 10 Point.
Hmm.
For the money, accuracy, speed, just such a quality crossbow. Wicked Ridge. That might be the bargain of the season for people.
Keith brought up one that was the CO2. I've been seeing some of the ones, and Cabela's had one. I've never tried it, but you load the bolts in through like the buttstock. Have either one of you
Oh,
seen that?
yeah, I have seen that. They, in some states, they're not legal. You can use
Okay.
them during gun season. Tennessee, I think now is legal to use it in gun season, but I got a buddy, it's a game warden, which I grew up with him. So I messaged him last year actually, because I found one that was somebody had on for sale pretty cheap. And I was thought about getting it. I was like, I don't know, but I looked at it and I ended up not getting it. But at first he told me, even I said, he knows I'm in a wheelchair. I said, can I get a permit or is it legal for me to use it? And at first he told
Right.
me, no, he didn't think so, just during gun season, even when in a wheelchair. But then he called me back and said, you're not going to believe this. He said 10 minutes ago, somebody comes in, lays it down a piece of paper with amendments on it. And he said, yeah, you can legally use that. Across
Wow.
that style. The Benjamin makes one, the air rifle shoot
Right.
bolts, Umareg or whatever they are. They make one, Umarex, I think's the name of it. They make one that shoots them. And I've researched them, but honestly, I've shot mine at 100 yards and I've killed deer over 60 yards with it. I don't think those would do any better.
Right.
Right.
They're a little more compact, and it might be good for somebody that, my Excalibur is kind of bulky. Even I mean, it's not as bulky
Right.
as some of the old ones, but it's still pretty bulky. Because my buddy's got I think it's a R10 Raven, and no, I cranked it. No, they crank good. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
used Raven, but it's smooth cranking, and it's not tight. Like it's the same consistency all the way back. It never gets tight. It's really smooth and easy. But my Excalibur, I'm kind of partial. I mean, I like it because I've been out of town and I go on a lot of hunts, and you can put a new string on it. If you put the right twist and put it right back on the mark, I've never had to readjust my scope. If you put it back where it's supposed to be, you can put a brand new string and put the right twist in it and shoot it, and it'll be dead on. I mean, and you can do
It,
it in the field too. That's the thing. I mean, I can do it myself actually. So
it, and here's the thing too, Keith, we're talking about a lot of different manufacturers, a lot of different types of crossbows. Just get out there and shoot it.
yeah,
Make sure that you're proficient with what you're taking out there because you owe it to the game, you owe it to yourself,
oh yeah,
you owe it to the people that are out there helping you get set up that are willing to take the time and put you on deer. Whatever weapon, whatever crossbow, compound, rifle, whatever you're taking hunting, just make sure you're proficient in it, that you know how to operate it, that you know how to operate it safely. And same thing with broadheads. You talk with a lot of guys and, oh, I only use this type of broadhead or what have you. Make sure you shoot your broadheads in before you take
yeah,
them hunting because I don't care what the package says. Broadheads fly a little bit differently. They
Hmm.
may fly very similar to field points, but if you don't get out there and shoot your broadheads before the season, I don't really have any respect for you as a hunter. Whenever you say, "Well, I shot 3 inches to the left," well, did you shoot in your broadhead? Because it's probably a broadhead shooting 3 inches to the left.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Me and Greg just talked about this the other day. I was texting you about broadheads, and
Yep.
I've used a bunch of them, and some of them I don't like. I've used G5 brand, and they did really well. There was a few little flaws, but I never had one fail on me as far as a mechanical broadhead. And of course, that's a whole issue too. But
Right.
I shoot mechanical, and I've never had an issue with no one not opening or failing or whatever. But I've used Rage. I've used the Walmart specials, as I call them. I think Allen makes
Yeah.
them. I've killed them with my compound. I've killed I don't know how many deer with them cheap ones. And but now I use Grim Reaper. I love them.
Yeah.
You can. I'm not scared. I'll shoot one of them straight in the shoulder blade. I have seen Rage fail, hit them in the shoulder blade. My grandson last year there was a buck at 50 yards, and this kid was 8 years old. I trusted he had my crossbow, and I trust my equipment. And I told him, and which I tell him all the time, do not hit the shoulder. Well, this deer was quarter two, it was just a hair at 50 yards, and it was last light. And I'm like, if you can see him, and you can tell me you can see that crease, I said, pull forward about 2 inches and shoot it in the shoulder. And he looks at me like, you're kidding, right? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
shoot it in the shoulder. And he shot that thing, and it didn't go 50 yards, and he hit it right where I told him to. It blew right to that shoulder and right out perfect out the other side. It's like I said, it's quarter two. I'm not saying it's the best shot to take, but if you know your equipment, just like Greg said,
Right.
get comfortable with what
Yep.
you're shooting. You got to be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I knew my bow, my setup would make that shot and go through that shoulder blade, so I wasn't concerned about it. And I'm not going to say something can always happen. I mean, I was practicing
Right.
last week, and I shot, and one of my arrows is doing this right here, and I'm like, and I could hear it. I knew what happened. The fletching ripped off as soon as I shot.
Yep.
One of the fletchings come off, and it just started doing something crazy. And I'm like, I could see it. Luckily, it hit the target, but not my building because I have my brick buildings in the backdrop. So if it hits it, you've lost a bowl at that point. But
Yes, sir. I don't know if you guys have experienced much of this or not, but I usually use a bag target for my crossbow, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to shoot the one spot just a little bit too much, and then like you, Keith, my bolt goes kind of through it, and it screws up my fletchings. So I got to get a couple of bolts refletched, and I've bought new arrows for the season, that kind of thing. But man, if you don't if you're not careful with what you're shooting into, you can
Oh
tear
yeah,
those fletchings up real quick on a crossbow.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And some of those things are powerful, man. I mean, they're packing a punch.
Yep.
And if you're shooting something, maybe checking the scope or resetting the scope, and you're shooting at like 25 yards and you zip through one of the targets. What we ended up doing is getting mats at a Tractor Supply that would be in a barn, and putting those up. And still, I've had some bolts go through a target and still halfway through some of those mats.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talking about targets, man, I've had the issue. I bought one. I think it was from Academy, and it was supposed. It had a one side said 350 feet per second, and then if you
Right.
spin it around, the other side's like long ways into it's 400 feet per second. Well, my bow shoots over 400. I thought, well, it'll stop them good enough. It, even on
No.
even on the 400 foot per second side, it bears them to the fletchings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you, my buddy bought one. It's called a spider web. They're not cheap, but we bought the smaller one, and I have never in my life this thing. I shot that target with my crossbow just this year. It's the first time I shot it. It got about 4 inches penetration, and you could have pulled it out. You could have blew on it and pulled it out. They just back right out, and
Nice.
Wow.
and it seals right back up. Never seen anything like it in my life. I've never had a target so easy. My other one, if I shoot, I have to use my tool. It's the Excalibur bolt. You can screw it into the end of the arrow and pull it out, but
Right.
it buries it to the fletching, so it's tearing your fletchings up every time you shoot.
Yep. That's always a big concern I have, Keith. That's why I use bag targets for my field points. But when I'm shooting my broadheads in, you shoot into these foam targets, and like you
Hmm.
said, it can take two men and a boy to pull these things back out. And a lot of times, when I'm shooting, it's just me and my wife, and it's hard for her to pull these bolts out of the foam targets. And I can never really shoot 3D ranges.
Hmm.
My buddies are all the time trainer. Come shoot this 3D course with us. It's wheelchair accessible. You can get around. And I'm like, guys, if I and this isn't saying 10 points the most powerful crossbow out there, but if I shoot this 3D target with my 10 point, it's going to take two guys to hold on to the target and one guy to pull it out.
Right.
And it's just not a good time for me. I'd rather just shoot the bag targets with my crossbow.
I would say most of those 3D targets. Well, your crossbow, all these most of these newer crossbows, I don't think they would stop it anyways.
No.
It
I
it, it
think,
cer-
I
certainly
think we'd be looking
varies.
for a lot of errors, is what we'd be doing.
Yeah. And the sad part is you bring up a point, Greg. So you don't want to shoot the targets because now you're putting more burden on the people around you just to get the
Yep,
arrow back.
yep,
It's like going to the range. I love being at the range. I hate loading ammo. And so
yeah,
if we can preload stuff, I came to shoot, not sit here and keep doing it. And as a quad, if I can take time and I've got a device if we're shooting like ARs that I can press it. I don't mind pressing magazines when we're at the house, but I'm not going to sit there as a quad and try to thumb these magazines. And
yep.
it's just about, again, it's about finding products that work and a way to get back out and enjoy the outdoors. Let's face it, the outdoors are never going to really be accessible. We're trying to find new ways just to get out and enjoy it.
And Mike, you bring up a good point about preparation for the range. You're loading magazines ahead of time
Yes.
because if we're going to a gun club or a public range, you don't want to be the guy holding up everybody. There's people waiting to get to the bench, and you're taking 15 minutes to load a mag. So it is preparation and being considerate of the people around us and the people that are trying to sight in their rifles and stuff too. And guys, I know that we've had some good conversation here, and we're getting towards the end of the podcast. Keith, we're going to have you back on after the season and see how your season went. But for both of you, is there any parting thoughts? What you'd like to leave the podcast with today?
Well, I had one more question for Keith, real quick. I know you got a lot of hunts you go to. Is there one coming up that you're just dying with excitement, ready to roll?
I'm looking forward to going back to Texas, honestly. But it's a long drive, of course.
Yeah.
It's hard on your body, but when you get there, it's worth it. Hopefully, we can get down there and get on. Like I said, he's hopefully the guy's going to try to get us on a call axis deer. I'm all for it. I don't care what the rack looks like. If he's going to give us a good deal, like the meat, because the meat's just like if you've had it, which I think you have, it's
Yeah.
you just can't beat it. I mean,
Yeah.
I like all meat, but any of the wild game I'm fine with. But yeah, it's we're going to try to go to Ohio too. Public land hunting. I went back last year public land hunting with my son for the first time, but no EHD's bad up there right now, so I don't know how.
Yes.
I'm not sure how that's looking. I'm just going to wait till closer to time and see how that area is and call some people up there I know and see what's going on. But that right now, it's all I have planned. I thought about trying to go to Georgia this year. I have family that lives down there, maybe even hunt on public land down there. But we just if we do, it'll be a last minute thing. My son, you can't plan very far ahead with him sometimes. It's just he's like, "You want to go do this?" I'm like last year we went to Ohio and it's like, "Hey, let's go hunt public land." Okay, let's go. I mean, I don't have anything going on, so I'm good.
Heck yeah.
I'm good anytime. I'll go wherever. I'm game to go. So, but yeah, I'm definitely just looking forward to get back in the woods, honestly, and hunting.
Well, Keith, we sure appreciate you coming on today. You've always been a great friend to us, a good guest, and we wish you the best this season in Texas and Ohio, and especially around your house there in Tennessee. And
I appreciate.
let us know what's going on, and we'll have you back on so we can talk about your success and everything that you got into this year.
All right. Well, I appreciate you all and everything y'all do. Enjoy seeing everything both of you do on a daily basis, to help accessibility and stuff out. I'm fighting that right now, trying to find an accessible place in Texas to stay. Even
Yeah.
last year, the hotel we stayed in, it was an accessible room. Let me tell you, what they consider accessible and what I consider accessible, we're on two different pages. And I let them know about it, and they didn't like it either, but that's okay. But,
Right.
I know y'all deal with it all the time, and I do as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be accessible. I carry portable ramps and stuff, but I got to be able to get in the bathroom and I got to
Yeah.
be able to get in a bed. Other than that, I don't need anything else. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trade.
They don't understand when I like Airbnbs. I'll message them, "Hey, how big's your doors?" Well, I don't know. Well, I need to know because I'm
Yeah.
not a wheelchair and I can't get through them if they're not at least 32. I'd like for it to be 36, but 32's minimum. I ain't going through
Right.
it. So.
And that's what it's about, man. Advocacy, trying to find new ways just to get back out. We'll have
Yeah,
to get together, Keith, and talk. What part of
absolutely.
Texas are you going to?
It's Livingston. It's
Okay.
near Houston, not about an hour from Dallas, south of Dallas.
Yep.
It's not real far from the Gulf, honestly, right there. It's probably an hour and a half or so from the Gulf. It's a little town right there, but big lake. There's a huge Livingston Lakes right there. It's a pretty well known lake, I think. But yeah, it's right in that area. It's just honestly, it ain't a real big town for Texas, but there's so many towns in Texas.
Yeah.
Big place. It's kind of, I guess it would be considered eastern, like Middle Eastern part of Texas, kind of on this side of it. So,
Well, we'll definitely get together and chat it up, man. And I thank both of you for being on today and being able to share your perspectives. It's always a true blessing. Keith, thank you for taking time, man.
you're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.